Well, third rant. Third rant in the space of a week. Didn't think I'd be doing another one this soon, but what are you gonna do, huh? There's lots going on. So anyway, if y'all don't know who I am, I'm glad to introduce myself once again. I am Blazing Ace Nelson, and I got some more choice words for you. Let's get to it.
Yo, here we go. Yo, here we go. Time for some action. Can't get no satisfaction until my steel toe crashes. Head on collision. What's happening? This swinging, face smashing. No need.
Now, although I call this a rant video, there's actually some good news here. I mean, dig this. And as per the usual, links to all the stories that I'm referring to will be in the description bar below. So feel free to give those a look. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. But anyway, here's what's going down. Here's the lead for today's choice words. Check it out. Apparently down in Ashburn, Virginia, there's a school that is starting to utilize, of all things, the Xbox, in particular the Xbox 360 and Xbox One, and the Kinect attachment, in order to help, I guess you could say, in order to help treat children with autism. Now, the fact that video games are actually gaining more prominence as far as actually being used as a medical tool it's nice. It's really nice to see. It's good to, again, see that, as I've said in the past, video games, video gaming, and gamers ourselves can actually be recognized as a force for good in this world. Now, going a little ways through the article, it actually mentions that, when the kids finish the games, the ones in particular, Sawyer and Michael, when they finish the games, they get this real sense of achievement, like they went through and they actually accomplished something. And I guess that's really a key goal for game design as a whole. You want the players to actually feel like they really accomplished something, no matter what the game is, whether it's something like Call of Duty or Titanfall, or even something so something so deceptively simple on the surface as, say, Tetris or Portal. It's something to exercise the mind, whether it's through puzzles, through action, or through just engaging with the player as far as telling a story. So seeing this study, seeing that there are actually centers like this that are specializing in utilizing video game technology in order to really try and improve on people's lives, it's a pretty good thing to see. But y'all thought this was gonna be all positive, huh? No. This is where I actually start to rant, because you see, they list in the article, there's a statistic listed saying that autism now affects 1 in 88 children. What was it? Yeah, 1 child in every 88 in the United States. Now, if it seems like those stats have been ballooning, think about it this way. The spectrum for autism, defining what's on that spectrum, the definition for what is on that spectrum has been expanding. So the more it expands, the more that people are discovered that actually have, symptoms and flags of this particular condition. And it's It's like it says in the article itself. Autism is a range of complex neurodevelopment disorders. But the thing is, I mean, the way I can basically sum it up is that autism is just autism is a description of, you know, a difference in people's mental wiring. Well, in people's neural wiring, excuse me. But having autism does not make you any less of a human being. So all of the, all the positive reinforcement, all the positive reactions that these kids in the studies are showing, it looks more to me like the kids are actually having fun and getting some sort of positive reinforcement out of it. They're enjoying video games. They're enjoying playing video games with others in a setting that is not so stressful for them. I mean, when you've got kids being picked on just because of how they think, and then you see a study like this, the first thing that I think is, newsflash. Kids with autism like video games because it's something that they can actually do without getting stressed. You want kids with autism, or you want kids with any sort of disability, whether it be neural, mental, or physical. You want them to succeed, you want them to thrive. Step one, stop being assholes to them. Now, for those of you that have actually been following me on Facebook, yeah, you'll find me there. Just look for Ace Nelson. Make sure you match that name to the city of Bellingham, and you'll find me. But anyway, for those of you that have been following me on Facebook, and those of you that are following me on Twitter, you may have actually seen some posts that I put up regarding one particular Indiegogo campaign that is going on right now, and that is the campaign for Shaq Fu, The Legend Reborn. That's right. One of the most notoriously bad, yet so bad it's strangely charming video games of the 1990s, Shaq Fu, is getting a sequel. At first, I didn't know what to make of it. I thought it was just a joke. I thought it was, I thought it was just some guys on 4chan deciding that they were going to, troll through the V boards for a second and just, boom, Shaq Fu 2. What? But no, looking on the Indiegogo page, it's looking to me, in fact, it's looking, period, like there's actually a development studio that is going ahead with development for a new Shaq Fu. And, Shaquille O'Neal's mug is all over this thing. His massive ham hock ass handprints are all over this thing. But here's where I have some issues with this. Think about the net worth of Shaquille O'Neal. Just think about it. In fact, you could even Google it. As an endorsement figurehead, as a former pro athlete, I mean, heck, the guy even in one instance stumped for Chris Christie during his re-election in New Jersey. And although not very significant, Chris Christie still got a boost from it. That's the kind of star power and admittedly the kind of charisma that Shaquille O'Neal still has. Now, whether or not you like him as a person, whether or not you like him as a basketball player, where I think Shaq screwed up is actually deciding to try and basically make his big celebrity comeback in video game form via crowdfunding, via Indiegogo, man. Independent developers, hell, independent artists and authors, they deserve more attention on Kickstarter and on Indiegogo, because ostensibly that's what those sites are for. You have a great idea, you've got the drive, you've got the discipline, but you don't have the funding, and you don't necessarily have that sort of celebrity pull. So you spread via word of mouth, or if you do have that celebrity pull, but at the same time you don't have the kind of cash flow, you know, you go to your fans, you say, hey, this is what I want to do. You know, this is the project I'm trying to get funded. Can you help me out and be a part of this process? But seriously, let me give me just a quick second to actually bring up the Indiegogo page, because yeah, if you're not already looking at it with me, and yeah, that'll be it. The link to that will be in the info bar as well. This is just, it's a slap in the face on numerous levels. Largely because the question comes up, why would a multi-million dollar endorsement magnate like Shaquille O'Neal need to crowd fund anything? All right, with the kind of contacts he has, with the kind of friends that he has in the industry, you would think that he'd be able to just, you know, get together with some of them, or get together with the developer and the publisher, and, you know, literally put up a vast majority, if not the entirety, of the game's funding out of his own pocket, instead of asking for damn near $500,000 on Indiegogo. All right, their initial goal is freaking $450,000. So that's $450,000 that could be going to other projects. That could be going to smaller developers that may have great ideas, if not for damn sure greater than trying to resurrect Shaq Fu, of all things. And some of the perks for this are just downright awful. I mean, $35 for a limited edition character and weapon that is only available to funders. Basically, pay to win for getting it on the ground floor of this thing. $25, you get, you know, a copy of the game and a lifetime season pass, which is apparently including over $200 worth of DLC for the game. What the flying chartreuse fuck? And then, like, when it gets higher into the rewards, that's when things start to get kind of ridiculous. Okay, not kind of ridiculous. Really ridiculous. Like, at $475 and $500, you get signed, you know, you get a basketball signed by Shaquille O'Neal, or a Shaq Fu figure signed by this dude. And apparently, you know, $500 you could get Shaq to follow you on Instagram. For $600, you can have Shaq follow you on Twitter.
You serious?
For For $3,000, you get 2 floor seats to a Kings game. 2 floor seats to a Sacramento Kings game. There are people scalping tickets to those games for that much. Hold on, let's see what else. 25 grand. 25 grand for dinner with Shaquille O'Neal. But all other expenses are on you. Suffice it to say, this is just, it's embarrassing. The fact that this campaign has even gotten as much traction as it has, you know, it's currently sitting at 58 grand. Shaq really should be ashamed of himself. The developers that are actually trying to go through with this and cash in on Shaq should be ashamed of themselves. Now, a lot of the fans, well, not a lot, you know, most of the fans that have actually contributed to this, I could say, you know, there are better things you could do with your money, but that's just my personal opinion. If you like Shaq, if you actually want to see this game, if you actually, you know, if you dig what they showed in the trailer and hope that the rest of the game would be like that and you want to contribute to it and see it happen, then, you know, that's your thing. That's your money. That's perfectly fine. But just keep in mind the simple fact that, again, Shaq's a multi-millionaire. And he wants to crowdfund his own video game. I guess video games are like free throws to Shaq, aren't they? Alright, now it's time to... I guess it's time to veer off on a bit of an alternate path. Because you see, I've actually been really considering, you know, I've been really mulling over whether or not I actually want to get more into politics as far as the videos and such that I record on this channel, or whether to just make a separate channel for it. But the next 2 topics that I have to bring up are extremely important. Not just to me as a gamer, but to me as an American citizen. Now, from the look of this article on newgamernews.com, well, let me preface this next segment with a couple of questions. When you play video games, largely you play them for stress relief. You play them to, you know, at the very least, sidestep the doldrums and all the, you know, a lot of the problems that you're facing in the real world. I mean, largely you play video games for escapism. You want to just have a good time, have an adventure. I mean, isn't that one of the main selling points to a good video game? It takes you someplace else. But then why? Why would anyone in their right mind want to start seeing political ads show up on the OS dashboards for their chosen system? I mean, on the PlayStation Store, and, you know, on the dashboard for like the Xbox One and the PS4, you know, you've already got stuff for ads like, you know, body spray or food or movies. But again, it's corporations that are actually paying for the ad space. But it's the companies paying for the ad space. It's not ads that are supposed to be tailored to the individual gamer. It's just ads in general. It's not. Oh, good Lord. Wow. Okay, yeah. This is a lot. This is live reaction of me actually reading through this article to get a little bit of a better grasp on what's going on here. But apparently, Microsoft is at the Conservative Political Action Conference right now. They were at CPAC trying to apparently lobby politicians to run their political ads on on Xbox One. Seriously, Microsoft, my God. It's like you're taking 2 steps forward and then throwing it in reverse for a mile. You seriously want to jockey politicians? I mean, it's bad enough. It's bad enough that Microsoft and other corporations already have their own bought and paid for legislators anyway. Most of them are sitting in the House of Representatives and the Senate to begin with. It's bad enough that these politicians and the media have been doing everything they can to stigmatize gamers and video gaming as a whole. But now they actually want to try and open up the floodgates to politicians to run their political ads on our game systems. Games are supposed to be a way for us, again, to avoid the bullshit that we have to deal with day to day. Games are a way for people to relax, to unwind. And now all of a sudden you want to have, let's say this was already going on back in 2012. Now all of a sudden you want to let guys like Rick Santorum, fucking John McCain and Mitt Romney, and yes, I'll even say this, even ostensible Democrats like Barack Obama, Joe Biden, or Hillary Clinton, flooding the dashboards on our game systems with ads. This is why ad block is a very, very, very good thing. Oh, good Lord. Now that we're on the topic of politics, though, there's one other thing that I really, really need to talk about. Excuse me. March 6th, 2 days ago, there was a vote taken up in the Senate to discuss Measure S1752. Now, for those of you that, don't really follow politics that much, Measure S1752 is, as it says right here on the Senate.gov website, a bill to reform procedures for determinations to proceed to trial by court-martial for certain offenses under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. (1752) was a measure sponsored by Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York. Basically, a measure set to try and tackle the problem of rampant sexual assault in the U.S. military. Now, let's face facts here. Not only is this rampant, but it's also very sadly underreported. Because, you've got women going overseas fighting in Afghanistan alongside their male counterparts, putting their lives on the line. And yet, not only do they have to worry about catching an IED underfoot or catching a bullet to the face, but they also have to worry about watching their backs just to make sure that their own comrades in arms don't turn around and violate their freaking bodily autonomy. Come on! And what makes things worse is that a lot of the time, trying to take it up chain of command goes nowhere. In fact, trying to take it up chain of command gets the victims court-martialed, gets the victims prosecuted for conduct unbecoming and other such nonsense. There are so many of our soldiers returning from tours of duty with so much piled on top of them. A government that refuses to actually take care of them. When they go and put everything on when these soldiers go and put everything on the line, and they make the ultimate sacrifice. But to put the cherry on top of this shit cupcake is that rape victims in our armed forces they rarely, if at all, get a fair shake. You've got guys who are supposed to be trying to prosecute, or at the very least, supposed to be trying to mitigate sexual assault in the military, getting busted for sexual assault. This is infuriating to the point of actually damn near bringing me to tears. This is a national disgrace. We should not be putting up with this. Now, I'm going to put this out there right here and now. I am a out and proud liberal. I am an unabashed progressive. So, seeing the vote to even bring this measure to cloture in the Senate being put down by the vast majority of Republicans and conservatives in the Senate, that doesn't surprise me at all. But the fact that it was 5 votes short of passing the filibuster because of the Democrats in the Senate that voted against this. And a lot of the and a lot of these people like let's say for example, like West Virginia, like Joe Manchin in West Virginia, Claire McCaskill in Missouri, freaking John Tester from Montana. These people are actually going on their bought and paid for media outlets in the mainstream. They're going on the news and talking about how it would just set the process back if reporting and prosecution of rapes in the military were taken out of the hands of the chain of command. When more often than not, the perps responsible, the rapists responsible, are in the chain of command. But you cowards sat back and voted to not even have this thing brought up on the floor of the Senate for discussion. That is despicable. That is disgusting. And for the people that voted to keep you monsters in office, I hope they see this on your record. And I hope that you are branded with this so thoroughly that once elections roll around, you do not see another day in office. Even one of the independent senators on the Hill, freaking Angus King, voted no on bringing this measure up. And yet not a single one of them, whether they be Republican, Democrat, or Independent, not a single one has brought a better idea to the table. And as far as whether or not they ever will, I wouldn't hold my breath. I refuse to stand by and see any of my fellow Americans, doesn't matter what walk of life you're from, doesn't matter whether or not you're related to me by blood, or whether you've even friended me on Twitter. I refuse to stand by while my fellow Americans serving abroad are forced to watch their backs, are forced to watch their own backs against the people who are supposed to be watching their backs. Make your voices heard. Get whatever petitions you can started. But the Senate needs to know. Our service people have been through enough. Why let this epidemic go unanswered? Well, that'll do it for me. Like I said earlier, tell me what you think in the comments below. Till next time, work hard, game harder, and the floor is yours. This is Blazing Ace, out.